this is about the poster session. So we'll be covering that. What goes into your poster for Technology Transfer Day. So I've got some slides here. Again, poster preparation. And at any point, today and after and into next week, Tracy and I are around to answer your questions. So you have my email address. You probably wish that I would stop emailing you, but that's so I know you have those, and then also Tracy's as well. So I know people have been reaching out with questions and concerns. We love to hear from you, so please make sure you're doing that as you're kind of working through these documents and have questions. Never hesitate to reach out to us. And then I guess also from a who to contact perspective, Rue, who was just on the call and turned off her video, she's actually moving on to a different GA position starting on Monday. So she will no longer be available to answer those questions, but we're making a new hire. So we will have some assistance in that realm as well. And actually Rue's not going that far, so we'll still be able to ask her questions too. So just know that that we've got support with the Technology Transfer Day trainings and stuff too. All right. So again, just to reiterate what we're looking for when it comes to Technology Transfer Day, we've got a poster or a pitch, and that is primarily determined by the technology readiness level. So if you have technologies over the last week, people have asked me to send them that Excel document where you kind of complete the questions, and then it spits out what technology readiness level you are. And that's really the determining factor on all of these things. So if you're about a 3 to a 5, the technology, not you, I'm sure you as a person, your technology readiness level is a 9, but if your technology is a 3 to a 5, then it would be a poster presentation. So that's what really we're gonna focus on here. 6+ is then a longer pitch. Either way though, you'll need a poster. So this is relevant to you, today's presentation, either way. Again, the materials, we're trying to put together kind of cohesive packages. So you've got the quad chart, which covers very specific information, and we've assembled those and put those in your box folder. We have an information paper, which just kind of expounds on the information that was in your quad chart. So again, your quad chart, if I characterized them correctly last week, the quad chart is more for kind of your like top level officer person. And then the information, someone that just at like an 8th grade level says, oh, that's really interesting. I think that whatever innovation that this person is working on could really fit within my unit. Whereas then the information paper digs down deeper. So that would be an actual like engineering officer who says, okay, so my higher ups are saying this should work. This is something I should be using and implementing into my systems. But I need more I need the specs. I need more technical details to really be able to implement it into our systems. And so that's really where the information paper is kind of more of a how and has more of the scientific detail that the quad chart doesn't. Then we're going to get into the poster, which is combining that information, and then we lead into a pitch deck. So if you have an earlier TRL, 3 to a 5, and I don't want to say only making a poster presentation, but if what you're presenting is the poster, your research, and it's at an earlier stage of development, then you will not need to work on the pitch deck. So next week, we're going to have a pitch presentation, and you won't need to attend that. So I hesitate to say that so that people don't come, but just know that after the quad chart, information paper, and poster, if you're presenting a technology that's in an earlier stage of development, then those are the 3 things you should be focusing on, and you don't need to make a pitch deck and come next Friday. Again, the benefits of Technology Transfer Day is real-time feedback from Department of Defense Technology Scouts, and then there will be post-event socialization. So they will send your technology and and the quad chart, information paper, and poster also, I believe, to any of these decision makers. And a lot of those are, kind of 25 to, in some cases, 50 connections that then they made last year where they're describing the technology, a relevant commanding officer who might make those decisions, and then saying, and sharing that contact information with you as well to say, please follow up with this technology, with this innovation. So those are the key takeaways that we're going for here. And so again, this series, whether you're attending live this morning or we're recording these as well. So just be aware of that. If you want to revisit any of this information, then we've got the quad chart, information paper, and poster. And those would be the things that DoD reps would ever ask for as they're kind of considering, kind of looking into or funding or what have you, your research. General guidelines, very similar to the information paper, where you're going to cover just one technology on that poster. And a lot of the information will be lifted from the quad charts and that information paper and then kind of tweaked to fit the poster. And I would more follow the information paper model and guidelines for the poster than maybe the quad chart. The quad chart has a pretty specific function, I think, where the information paper, it provides more detail. And so then that's what appears in the poster there as well. Again, as has been true on the other documents, you're going to mark whether the concept is patented or other significant intellectual property considerations, and make sure that that's like prominently displayed. Just to what's the IP position that you're bringing to the table. Again, I think I said this in the quad chart one, and then again in the information paper presentation. Oh, excuse me. There are no wrong answers on that. It's just, what does the conversation look like? A conversation where you're licensing that IP is going to be different than you wholly own, the patent and that concept. So just making sure that that is noted prominently is going to be important in all of these documents. And then also, we put it in red here, and never put anything like classified or otherwise disclose that secret sauce in the poster or any of the documents that we're talking about here, because we don't want you to run afoul of that intellectual property, those intellectual property considerations that you're trying to think about. So again, posters are attached, like the quad charts and the information papers, to the emails from the tech scouts, and may be used by, they're publicly disclosed information. So hopefully, we shouldn't be sharing any secret sauce, but in case, there's an example or subsequent presentations that may use the quad chart or something, then just know that we might, I don't think NVDC will, but NSRI may use that for other event materials. Okay, so before I get into the actual what's contained in the poster, I just want to make sure that we're all able to access the box folder that Rue, who's leaving today, very helpfully set up. So so this is Alex's box, and I don't think I'm violating anything by just sharing the titles of the documents that are in there. So, because this is what's in everyone's folder. So everyone has a folder within Tech Transfer Day 2020, and then you have access to just your folder. So in this case, it's FYI.io is Alex's access level. The first document that we put in there, right, is this one here, the quad chart. It's a PowerPoint, just one single slide in a PowerPoint deck. And so that's where a kind of a first draft of your quad chart has been assembled, and Alex has been in here and edited it twice, it looks like. And so so he would consider his quad chart, he's in a done, finished format. So that's really helpful for us, so that as we're communicating with the tech scouts, we have one place to go to present that information. Then we included a information paper example. He, I guess, downloaded it and uploaded that. But anyway, so we have a technology paper example. We put in there what we could, But in terms of a lot of the technical details and things and just kind of the how and how things work and all of that, we don't have those kind of that scientific knowledge. And so we provided mostly guidelines in the template that we put in there. And then also an example. So you kind of use those to write your information paper. And again, with any of these, we can provide comments either through Box, or if you kind of want to download and upload and things like that, we can do that as well. So we're just trying to keep everything in one spot with our latest versions in the Box folder. So between the quad chart, which would be here, the information paper and an example is there, and then the thing we put in this week is the poster template for 2020. So you can kind of, and in this I would suggest editing through the Box folder because you can have access to the quad chart right there, the information paper right there, and then kind of drag and drop and copy over into then the poster template, add some images, and you're done. So I used and then this is what the poster template looks like. So we'll go through each of these columns. I'm going to take the left column here. Tracy will cover the middle, and then I'll do the right column to kind of wrap things up today. But just know that this is what's in your folder. This is what you have, access to, and can either edit in there, on the fly, or downloads and uploads. That's fine. And then we're obviously always available to edit those, talk you through those as well. And then Tracy has the link that I've shared as well for the one-on-one office hours where you can meet with her and talk about each document as well. So we're trying to be as servicey as possible and as accessible as possible. So just know that that Box folder is yours. So put that stuff in there, and hopefully everyone has access now, or has at least tried to access their Box folder. So if you've completed an application, then we'll, that's what kicks off us putting together the quad chart and creating that folder on Box and then giving you access to it. So we'll get back to the presentation. So again, on that Box folder, there is a poster template, and I'm just going to work down the left column. So that very first upper left part of it is the bottom line up front. And this can come exactly from your information paper. Like we were saying, we kind of want, or the tech scouts are looking for kind of a cohesive package. Each document has its own goal and audience that it's speaking to. And the poster is probably the broadest possible audience. But that information paper should really be common across all of those. So there's far less space on a quad chart. So that one has had to be pretty succinct, but you can put more detail into the information paper. And so use your bottom line up front from the information paper, then in that top left corner of the poster. So this is your public facing elevator pitch. And this is where they're going to look first. The tech scouts, as they're kind of reviewing your poster, what should they, why should they continue reading? Approximately 100 words, 3 to 5 sentences. And I've seen a few over the past week or so that, kind of meet these criteria and, and have been strong, well-stated, elevator pitches that make a case very clearly. So I don't think that this is a challenge for the group that we have, certainly not, but just make sure that, we've kind of refined it and we're really understanding like who's going to be viewing the poster, who will be reading the information paper, who is my messaging targeted to. So less technical probably in most cases, because you're just trying to get your foot in the door, and really focusing on that. Why does this matter to Department of Defense? Why would this combatant command make this purchase decision or contracting decision or what have you? So that's the top of the left column. TRL and capability overview. Again, this one is kind of just stating the technology's TRL, and similar to intellectual property, there is no wrong answer. It's just where you're at. It's just an assessment of what level of technological development you have achieved to this point. So it will frame the conversation, just like with patent protection, or intellectual property position, or whatever. If you're earlier stages of development, your ask is going to be different. Maybe it's more about additional funding to do more testing, more field tests and things like that. That's a very different conversation than I am at TRL 8. I can manufacture 10,000 tomorrow. All I need is a purchase order. Those are, so it's not right or wrong. I don't know that you should, fudge that TRL and say, oh, I'm at a 9, but you're actually at a 2. That maybe would be a wrong answer, but otherwise it's really just an unbiased assessment of where your technology sits currently. And then why are you at the specified technology readiness level? So that can kind of it kind of comes before your ask to say, like, I'm here because I need to make injection molds, or I really need to figure out the operational pieces to build this at scale. So that could kind of give the reader some indication of where your ask might be going, what your ask might be. And then the technology or capability overview. So the most important information from the upper left quadrant of your quad chart. So that's where we're kind of talking today. Like the poster comes together much more easily if we're done with the quad chart in the information paper. So, and similar, in the left column too, we're focusing on what you can do for the customer. So include a graphic, photo, or other image to provide kind of some visual context. What are we working with? Oh, and now, that's it. Okay, Tracy.
Now it's me. And of course, I apologize if you guys can hear the background noise. Our neighbors decided at this point to have some tree removal done, and I'm listening to some quite loud machinery, so I apologize for that. So we're now in the center column. The center column is the larger column, obviously in the middle of the poster. Within the center area, there are actually 2 columns, and we're going to focus now right on the center left side column. And this is where we really need to talk about the relevance to the DoD or to your specific customer. In my one-on-one conversations with several of the participants, there's a little bit of confusion about identifying a combatant command and a community of interest, and I just want to make clear that that is not necessary. The combatant commands and the communities of interest are offered as areas where you could find information about who your customer may be. You only need to identify a single customer. So if, for instance, you have a relationship or have been working with the DoD and you are confident that that organization or department within the Department of Defense is the right customer for you, then stick with that. That is your customer. It does not need to be a combatant command. It does not need to be a community of interest. If you are new to this world, excuse me, and you're still trying to figure out where you fit, that's where you can use that the combatant command capabilities needs chart and or the communities of interest on the Defense Innovation Marketplace to just help you hone in generally on where you might fit. But that should be something that should now be in that the top right quadrant of your quad chart. This customer should be clearly identified also in your information paper. And so again, clearly in this column, who is your customer and why is that your customer, right? How does your solution create value or benefit for that specific customer, or how does it fit within that that general or that broader community of interest segmentation, if that's the path you've chosen to go down. All of these are fine options. We just want to give you a singular direction to speak to. I've mentioned this before, and Josh has as well. A lot of the questions that the Tech Scouts will have are going to be specific to how your solution is going to be used by your identified customer, combatant command, or community of interest, right? So if it's something that has to be carried in by a troop, has to somehow fit in their backpack, or it's going to be carried into a particular environment, you're going to need to be able to describe how your technology will fit into that, right? So having the size, the weight, what does the packaging look like? Is it robust enough to be in the environment that it's going to be used in? I mean, if it's in a lab, that's a completely different scenario. If it's a software type of solution, where is that going to be used? Is Wi-Fi required, or some sort of internet connection? All of those things you need to think about in terms of what is the use case for your solution with this specifically identified customer. So that's the information that needs to happen in this part of the poster. The really bottom line reason for this is once you identify your customer, it's putting down the information to make them care, right? Why should they care that you have a solution that you're trying to pitch to them, right? It all goes back to how does it benefit that particularly identified end user. So, okay, and then the center column on the left. So this is sort of new information. We've not talked about market significance in the quad chart or in the information paper. So this is a great place for you to expand on the value of your technology by using market information. This is an area where NBDC can be helpful with the market piece of your puzzle. If you've gone out and you have any market validation, have you been selling your product to other customers, even if they're in another, if they're a non-DoD customer, demonstrating use both through the technology and the business is going to be relevant. If you have a DoD or other federal government customer, even better. But this is where this information should be placed, right on that, in that center left column there on the value of it. If you can have customer testimonials from users or purchasers or any of the beneficiaries, would be a great place to add it. Again, this is an extra area for you to really demonstrate your success and your value to your identified customer set. So if you need any help with this stuff, let me or Josh know, since it's new. The maturity and the scalability, again, that comes from that bottom right quadrant, as well as the expansion in your information paper. Again, specifically the size of the innovation itself. If you have a photo showing how or if your material or your solution can be scaled, great. Visual cues on the poster are going to be important, so this is a great place for you to use one. When you talk about the size of the specific, the solution itself, are there any technical attributes that are impacted by the change of the size? Will it work the exact same way regardless of the size? Are there, does the value of it change with its size? All of that. This should be discussed in this area. Production range is also important. If you are currently only able to develop 2 units of your solution a week, and the DoD needs 10,000 units in a month, can you scale up your manufacturing? Let them know what your current capabilities are, and then what it would take to increase or decrease to meet their needs. The main point here is really demonstrating flexibility and your nimbleness with regards to addressing their needs. Next, Josh. There we go. Okay. And then again, this is also from the bottom right quadrant, and this is an opportunity for you to really expand on that information. What does it look like for you under current conditions without any additional funding or pilot testing or customer engagement from the DoD? What is your expected time to market? You know, where are you currently getting your financial support, or what are your plans? How far will that get you? What does your runway look like? And using realistic costs and expectations here. I always say, you know, under promise and over deliver is the best way to go. I know we tend to want to attract people by, you know, saying, oh, we can do everything that you need. But the worst case scenario would be to say something like that to the DoD and then not be able to deliver. So just make sure that you're being realistic in your time frame and your cost expectations and your asks. How much sooner could you get to market with X amount of financial assistance? Or maybe it's not financial assistance. Maybe it is you need access to more data. You need access to more end users to do a pilot. So whatever that ask is, how much sooner will addressing that ask get you to market, right? If you do need additional financial assistance, how much is necessary? And so a lot of these tech scouts, especially for later technologies, so if you are at a TRL 6 or above, they're going to want to know what is your ability to deliver the solution in 12 months. If you're lower TRL, it's a totally different scenario. But if you are a 6, 7, or 8, you know, look at your time frame as a 12-month delivery window and work backwards from that. The other piece that I have been working with some participants on is, you know, can you break down this ask into phases? Oftentimes it's easier for the tech scouts to address some of that low-hanging fruit, the lower dollar opportunities to get the ball rolling for you rather than the big final full package ask. So if you can separate your ask or financial assistance into different phases, you know, 1 or 2 different phases or 3 different phases, that would be helpful, and I'm happy to help you do that. Next. Okay, that's you, Josh.
Ah, I lost my panel. Okay. So covering the right column here is past performance of the technology in the company. So this is again kind of it's a little bit of additional information for just that technology readiness level. So what tests have already been conducted? You know, has it been field tested in a military environment or you know, in this very specific use case? What demonstrations has it gone through, and what maybe certifications or additional approvals or what have you do you either you have or the product have that really means that, you know, it's you know, ready to be deployed, or you know, at what level of development and production it's available or it's at. So again, it's a little bit more of a nuanced kind of TRL, but that's the idea there with technology status. Then a photo of the technology as well. I mean, just as a way to kind of spice it up, because otherwise we've got just a lot of text on our poster. And then a company background. So again, not too long, because what I think the biggest interest here is that you have a solution that could be, you know, used in this very specific application to solve a very specific problem. So why should we trust, you know, why should the Department of Defense trust you to deliver that? And then, you know, kind of the personnel and the reputation. So maybe your company doesn't have contracts or sales that it's done in the past, but So but maybe you as a researcher have delivered on those in the past before. So you have grants that you've worked on or something like that with relevant technologies. So you've got kind of your personnel, maybe your personal reputation, even if your company doesn't have a long track record with that kind of.
Josh, you're on mute.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Okay. So then in the right column, thanks, Rue. In the right column with acknowledgements, you have past funding or awards. You have advisors, consultants, or subject matter expertise. And then you have any added value, any other certifications or claims that you can make that would, again, bolster your case. So maybe you don't have, like I said, like a past experience with contracts or whatever. But you do have past SBIRs that have been awarded or something like that. And so then that's where, or awards that you've won or something that otherwise distinguish you and your personnel or your advisory board or something like that. So any other kind of positions or something that just speaks to your credibility and, and special thanks to, and things that kind of further make that case. So that would be in your acknowledgement section as well. It's just your opportunity to brag on yourself a little bit there. But again, this right column is not going to like make or break these discussions. I think it's all just kind of like gravy. Yep, this seems to be working. Or they're already interested in the technology. The technology is already at a place where they would like to move forward with it, and then this is kind of further bolstering that case or what have you. So that's where your acknowledgements are going to go, and what those are kind of speaking to. Oh man. And then that's the end part. So that's your I kind of started with the upper left, which is your bluff. Why should I continue to read? And then your acknowledgements are, kind of something that is making a kind of a smaller case, but adding a little bit of, kind of the icing on the cake or whatever that then says like, this is a relationship that that you would want to kind of work with and continue and kind of supports the fact that you're a subject matter expert. That's what SME stands for. And you've served on, maybe advisory boards, or you have credible advisors or something that you can thank for how you got to where you are, and will help you further in this process. So any help, like I mentioned at the very beginning, is available from me, and that's my contact information there. And then also from Tracy, and her contact information is there. And then we have time now. We have plenty of time for questions if anyone has them. Or I can go through, we can use this time to solve people's box problems if they're having access issues, or if we have people that are kind of new to the whole process and want some information about completing the application and kind of getting the form started, we can answer those questions now too. But this is basically all the information you would need about kind of getting started on the poster, and then to be aware of the fact that Tracy and I and Rue and Catherine are available in the coming weeks to answer your questions about specific documents, and then also the event itself, and how we'll go about the logistics and the actual pitch, the pitch portion of it. So I don't know, I guess I'll say kind of a general thanks for participating today. And then if people want to kind of hang out with questions, or they have questions that they want to ask, then we're available till 10 to answer those.
So doesn't seem like any questions. There was a question I think everybody may have seen in the group chat about the bluff. So that bottom line up front acronym, just in case you didn't see it, that that phrase, that acronym is used widely in the DoD. In fact, that method is used frequently in written communications with folks at the DoD, both at the combatant command levels as well as in some of the agencies. So it's just a good skill to learn. You know, if you are reaching out to somebody in the DoD via email, having that bluff as the first paragraph is often very helpful in getting something done. You clearly state what it is you are, you know, asking for in that bluff, you know, what it is you're doing, what you're asking for. Then so the methodology that we use at NSRI, it's like you state what you're going to ask for in that bluff. You then ask for it, and then at the bottom, the last paragraph should be reiterating everything you just asked for, so that it's all very clear and precise for the recipient. So just wanted to follow up on that quickly. But no other questions or anything from anyone?
So I just wanted to make sure everyone knows, well, this has been recorded. We'll post that on that same Technology Transfer Day website if you want to revisit any of the information that's available here. The other thing that we'll do next week is send out you know, links to the recording, information about the pitch practice and the pitch sessions and upcoming trainings that will happen again on 9 a.m. on Fridays. So for the next couple of weeks here. And then also just the link to contact Tracy for office hours and things like that will also be available. So you'll get plenty of communication from me and the NBDC team about preparing, you know, the things you need to do to kind of continue to prepare for Technology Transfer Day 2020.
Thanks, Josh. Josh, you're on mute, but I can see your lips moving.
Oh, Rue, can you stop recording real quick?